installer in the end. Coach path making waves, fulfilling our needs. Tuning in, learning on private and free. Watch your life, you're over your height, just wait and see.
Hello, YouTube. Yay, data. It's everyone who's here. Guys, you are the nerds. We love you.
Hello, everybody.
Yay. This is the ones where we're allowed to talk about charts and data and everything. Not that we're not on E-Rank. We totally are, but people's eyes glaze
We're allowed
over.
to, but we just geek out here.
Well, hopefully. Yep. So, hello, everybody. Jessica, hi. And CJ, hello there. Yeah, we've got a few people on already because we're a little bit early, but so this can be the secret pre-show party where we talk about nonsense.
We talk about the different types of cheese.
Oh, don't! I'm hungry now. I've been here for ages, and I've got cheese in the fridge.
What kind of cheese? See, this is the important stuff.
Different types of cheese.
Ooh.
I have issues. I have different types of cheese.
Okay.
But guys, the really surreal thing is we were talking about the crazy world of people live streaming themselves all the time. And now, here's us live. Watch our lives. We're going to. Oh, but JD's got a brie in the fridge. See, we're here to talk about graphs because graphs don't make me hungry. And I'm probably going to bed after this stream. So.
What time is it there for you in the UK? 10:30?
It's 9:30 just now. Yeah, it's not so late, but it's been a day. It's been a week.
There's been a lot going on. So
there has
financials, all of the things.
I know. Etsy always drops its financials just when there's a lot going on. However, this week I was absolutely. Usually they drop a little something the day before the financials, and they have us scrambling like crazy, and they didn't. I was really sure the GSPR thing was going to come up on Tuesday.
I was hoping it would.
Yeah, that's true. They usually drop things they drop things that we don't want, don't they?
Yeah,
that's where they put in like customer satisfaction scores and stuff. Mm-hmm. So pie graphs make me hungry. Very few pie graphs. I think there's only like 2 pie graphs in the presentation, and we haven't made any. But hey, everybody, who have we got? We've got Sylvia, Teresa, Deb, Angie, JD, Grover, yeah, and Deborah. Oh no, Deborah, hoping it's good news as I've gone from hero to zero on Etsy.
So we might have the answer as to why.
Maybe. Yeah, well, that's a way of looking. That's a better way of looking at it. But yeah, look, it's bad. It's not awful, but it's bad. Chuck from sunny Spain. I was gonna say that sounds good because it's freezing here, but it's not freezing here currently because my room's like an oven, but it's freezing here. And Debbie's got snow, and have you still?
We have a lot of snow out there. It's days, and like they're saying about 3 weeks before they're able to clear all the snow, and it's supposed to snow a little bit again today, but it's right now -7, feels like -13 in Celsius. That's cold.
Yeah. Oh, Debbie saying even Walmart is down. Yeah, everywhere's struggling. It's not just Etsy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Shall we pull up a graph while we're
Let's do it.
If I can remember what buttons we press. There we go. Well, the chart. So yeah, we do seem to have quite a lot of people here. So we should start off with Brian's patented, much loved chart, because my charts that I use make it look like my brain's been driven by squabbling monkeys. And Brian's look pretty good. So do you want to tell us about this one then?
So this is the kind of yearly and quarterly of what's been going on Etsy. We'll go right down to 2024. It has been significantly worse than the previous years. If you look at the GMS, year over year, it started off with just 3.7% down from last year. and it ended the year at 6.77% down, with 3.7 billion being spent on the platform in quarter four, $12.5 billion across the year instead of the 13.1 billion the previous year. So it's down about 600,000 or 600 million, sorry. $600 million less was spent on Etsy in 2024 than in 2023. And based on what we're feeling, it feels like it's continuing that trend downwards, which is not pretty.
Yeah, and if I remember rightly, the numbers there, those numbers are for the whole Etsy family.
The
They said,
GMSs, yes.
yeah, for Etsy itself, the GMS was down about 8%.
Yes.
If I remember, yes, it was much worse. So,
not great.
but it's not. We do have some better things coming.
100%, 100%. The buyers, for the very first time in quarter four, they went down by over 1 million buyers. So what that could be is active buyers just means they've purchased something within the last 12 months. So it could be that from quarter four 2023, people just didn't come back to Etsy. About 1 million people didn't come back to Etsy, which is a lot of people. So that's not good. Yeah, it's not. It's not great.
It makes sense if people are struggling. Etsy's a frivolity. You don't come.
It's a luxury.
Yeah. So if you're cutting back on things, then these people might come back when times are better. But that is definitely
that's why it can look like every quarter leading up to Christmas, the numbers were going up because it was based on the previous 12 months. So from if someone was shopping in quarter one of 2023, they're still counted in quarter one of 2024, but then they wouldn't be counted by quarter four of 2024. So that's why you can see in 2023 there was also a drop at Christmas because it's based on the previous Christmas. But it seems like Christmases are people come and then just never shop again. So that's one thing that us sellers have to work on.
95 million. Well,
for sure.
80, that's still a lot of people.
And that's and that's 89. That's where the bigger number is. When the 95 million is the consolidated of all of Etsy's properties. If we're just talking about Etsy proper, it went from 92 million to 89.6. So it dropped by 2.5 million users. It's still 89 million. That's still a lot of people, but it's definitely not as many as it was, which is not nice. It's not great.
It's a problem. You can probably see if you're looking ahead or behind. Sellers is down a bit, which is good.
Good or bad, depending on why the sellers aren't there. And that's one thing that Etsy does not tell us. Year over year, there's 20% less sellers than there were last year. So on just Etsy proper, there were 7 million last year, and this year, quarter four, there was 5.6 million. That could mean that they cleared out a lot of the junk, because that's one thing that Josh had promised earlier on last year was they're going to work on getting rid of all the shops selling just all of the mass-produced junk. And so part of that drop of 1.4 million sellers could be those sellers. So they got rid of a lot of bad shops. But an active seller is someone who has sold something in the last 12 months. So it could be that there's 1.4 million shops that just weren't able to make a single sale.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mix of those. So it could be really good that they got rid of these shops, but it could also be really bad that shops might be selling less.
Yeah. We've just got a quick question from Deborah. Is it worth continuing with Etsy? All my customers come from my own social media. Seldom does Etsy find them. Potentially, if you can drive your own traffic to your own website, that's an option. But Etsy does give us other safeguards in that the customer feels safer because they know they've got backup. They're not going to, the story I always tell, which is truth, they're not going to buy a doggy paddling pool, and then when it comes from the website, it is literally hamster sized and there's nothing you can do to get a refund because the scam website is now shut down. So Etsy at least has the customers back, and also Etsy does help us with the taxes and a lot of the difficult things to do with running a business.
And are you sure that Etsy's not bringing any traffic? When you check your stats, it'll show you where the traffic came from. It doesn't tell you where the purchases came from, but it'll tell you where the traffic came from. Also, if you use Google Analytics attached to your shop, that'll also give you a much better idea of where people are actually coming from and how people are finding your shop. So sometimes we assume that our social media is doing amazing, but it's not. And if your socials are doing really well, you could also be using the Etsy share and save link, which means you actually get 4% of your fees back for those sales. So it's very possible that it could be beneficial because running a website has its own expenses. There's the payment processing fee, so that's a wash between the two, but you still have to pay your monthly fees. You still have to pay marketing fees if you're doing any external ads or anything like that, or if it's just your social media, then it's not as big an issue. But if you do have to run ads, that also cuts into your profits and everything, versus the 2.5% that Etsy would be taking if people are using a share and save link and getting you back that 4%. So yeah, Etsy is still, I mean, as these numbers show on the screen here, people still spent $12.5 billion. So people are still shopping on Etsy. It's not like Etsy's a dead marketplace. I don't have my numbers up on the screen at the moment, but I had over 5,000 orders last year. Wow. And so, I mean, it is still a viable marketplace if you're using it properly. But at the same time, if you are doing a lot of social media networking and that kind of thing, you should have your own website as well. You should have an Amazon Handmade. You should have a Michael's Makerspace. You should have Go Imagine, those two if you're in the US. You should be everywhere that you could possibly be. Etsy's definitely not dead because people are on there spending money. There's 89.6 million people shopping on Etsy. So it's definitely not a dead platform or dead marketplace. But if you feel that you could do better somewhere else, don't get rid of Etsy. Just stop pushing people towards Etsy and push them towards something that where your profit margin might be a bit better, or where you can capture their email addresses or capture more data about your users. Yeah, and it's a good point there. I would say I don't think any single person should be using Etsy for 100% of their income. Etsy is borrowed ground. It's not a platform you own. Diversify. So yes, like, is Etsy worth it? It's still probably the best that we've got. So use it to milk it for whatever you can get out of it, and take those customers and build them up in your social media and everywhere else. But yeah, don't just use Etsy. It's like having a shop in a mall of 5.6 million other shops. It's very possible that you could be kicked out of the mall for no reason. It's very possible that it could be shoplifting. It's very possible that a water main breaks and you now can't open your shop for a while. So it's always good to have some sort of diversity. It's just like in your stock portfolio, you should have some sort of diversity if you have one. Yep. Chuck, by looking at this number, the first thing I think people are worried about, will Etsy start increasing listing fees, for example, to cover profit and increase price per click cost for ads? I totally get, and you're probably going to be more angry when I show you one of the next graphs I'm going to show you. However, even the investors are shouting just now that this is not sustainable for Etsy to be increasing revenue when GMS is declining. Yeah. So they're not going to get away with that, I don't think. That's not a sustainable business model for making revenue off of sellers. And because there is a lot of competing marketplaces coming into the market, raising the listing fees is not something that they're likely going to do. They've had the same 20-cent listing fee for over a decade. They might increase the transaction fee. That's gone up a few times in the last 10 years. The last one was 2 years ago. It went from 5% to 6.5%.
Yeah.
So that's something that is likely to increase just because other marketplaces like Amazon and eBay are charging a higher transaction fee. So it's very possible that that will increase. But they're also trying other things like the insider program where a buyer is paying a monthly fee, and so those are they're trying to come up with other ways to increase revenue as well. So it might not just be the sellers which will end up paying more.
Debbie, I can't possibly comment on this or even read it out or anything, but yes. That's all I'm going with. Yes. We're not allowed to say anything at all. And Kat's launching her own website in April and an eBay store. Fantastic. Best of luck with that. Right. 15 minutes and we're only on slide 2. It's going to be one of these days. Okay, this is my famous graphs. If you haven't been here before, every report, both of us steal the data and I make graphs because I love graphs. So this is Etsy revenue and GMS from 2017 to current. The orange is revenue, the blue is GMS, so that's the sales that we have made for them. And I will, for those of you that don't know, this is like a 2-axis graph, so they're not the same. I've just brought them so you can see them similar side by side. Revenues in millions, GMS is in billions. Just so you don't get confused there. But Chuck, yes, the main takeaway, well, the one takeaway we can always see is quarter 4 is always the best. Quarter 4 is always the best, but this is the worst quarter 4 since the pandemic. Looking at that, yep. But it's also a record-breaking revenue for Etsy. So you can see in the past, as I say, these are on different scales, but in the past, revenue was always below GMS. And then 2022, when Etsy, that was the increase in listing fees. That was our fees increase, wasn't it?
Yeah, the fee increase and the just like 2 years before that, I think it was 2020 that they switched from promoted ads to Etsy ads, and that had a major impact on the revenue as well.
The lines have come together and then they've switched, which means the ratio of money that Etsy's making from us is more. That sounds so mean. But
also one impact that happened around the holiday season last year, which actually is one of the reasons that the revenue and the GMS is so distanced now, is while they were still bringing in the same amount of revenue, they fired a lot of staff.
Yes, their costs do make a difference as well. Yeah. That's very true. But yeah, this is the number that's making investors unhappy just now. Investors like money, but they like sustainable money. So Chuck's question, very valid. That appears to be quietly what Etsy's business model has been for a little while, but people have noticed and it can't continue.
Yeah,
is my take on it anyway. All right, here is our ratio of buyers to sellers. These graphs, I just took one divided by the other. We want it to be as high as possible because we want, for every one of us sellers, we want a lot of buyers. It's slightly better than last year.
That's because we lost a lot of sellers, but didn't lose quite the same percentage of buyers, which is nice.
Yep,
Still not
exactly.
great. We're still at we're still below 2012 levels.
Yep. So it's tough, but it's in the right direction.
Yeah.
And here is the one that I think most people don't realize, the GMS per seller. Now, bear in mind, there are some top sellers who make millions, and there are many more tiny sellers who maybe make a sale in the whole year. But this is on average, if we take everything that's been sold and divide it up by the number of sellers, it's just over $1,500 for the year of 2024.
Per
So
seller.
per seller, yes. And it's always lower than you think. Even the best year of 2020 wasn't even at 2,500. On average, people are not making the money that Etsy and some influencers make you think they're making.
And remember that these numbers, the seller numbers, are based on active sellers. So it's sellers that have made at least one sale in the last 12 months.
And
Which
but
means
yes,
that,
revenue, not profit as well.
yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, it does offset because there are sellers who might sell one $2 digital item in the last 12 months, so they're included on this. But then there's the sellers that have, there's some that are making over $1 million a year, so it kind of balances. And this gives like a little bit of information, but it gives a good average of $1,500 is kind of the average seller on Etsy. So if you're making less, you got to work a little bit harder. If you're making more, you're doing better than the average seller.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to pull up Deborah's question here. I will warn you guys, we don't want to get overly political. If you haven't guessed, neither myself or Brian are Americans. We're from the US. Rather, you're American. You're from the island, the continent, but not the country.
I'm from the Americas.
Yes, but you're not American. But will Etsy be influenced by the president's opinion of not buying outside the USA? I.e., will the USA sellers be prioritized? No, but Josh did.
Yes. Because it depends on buyer habits. If buyer habits change, then so does the way the algorithm shows the listings. So if Americans are more likely to buy from Americans, then they're more likely to see listings from Americans. So that's just kind of how that ends up working.
Yes. Etsy wouldn't penalize or do something with that unless it was made the law. They want their algorithm to show the things that people want to buy. So if you only buy from US sellers, then yes, the algorithm will head that way. Algorithms should follow buyers. But Josh did mention about things that could happen with what the US is talking about with tariffs and all sorts of things. And in the short term, it sort of could be good for Etsy if it's bad for Shein and Temu. Was one way of looking at it.
Very fair point.
I think the main thing is whatever happens with any government, none of us have any control, and we just have to roll with it and work around it, which could mean things are difficult, or it could mean it helps things, but there's nothing, we can't worry about it because we can't control it.
And it's really, at the end of the day, it's really no different than GPSR, except for the fact that you can still sell to the US versus the EU. If you don't have a responsible person and all the other requirements, you can't sell to the EU. So that's kind of, it's very, very similar. So I don't think that and GPSR, it doesn't seem to have had much of an impact either. So tariffs and that kind of thing likely won't. If you're selling a product that people want, they will buy it from you no matter what extra they have to pay to get it in their hands.
Exactly. And a no silly question. If they make most money on fees, is that not related to sales volume? And yes, but the thing is, if the sales volume remains kind of steady and you've increased the fees, then the revenue will increase. And also, honestly, the biggest chunk of the revenue is coming from ads.
Yeah, it's coming from ads, and also listing fees will not necessarily be related to sales volume, because someone could list 1,000 items and not sell a single one. So they would have zero as far as sales volume goes, but still have that $200 cost of listing 1,000 listings.
And there's also the shop opening fee.
Yeah.
This one, as far as I can tell, people are trying to open a shop, paying the money, and then getting their shop closed down. So I don't think Etsy refunds that money, as far as I can tell. So
I haven't seen anyone get refunded yet, but it's also only been the last few months that they've really started shutting down these new shops that have been paying. So it could take up to 6 months to get your money back, or they might just not. But I feel like if they don't, they would run into issues. So
yeah,
likely they'll be given that money back.
And I know someone will mention it if I don't. Yes, likely Etsy makes money if if they delay payments for an extra day by mistake and stuff. There's probably interest on the reserves and everything else that probably adds up. So yeah, they make money in a lot of places. I don't think they're necessarily scummy. I don't think they're doing these things on purpose, but hey, probably if you're sitting on a glitch that's making you a tiny bit of money, you'll rush less than if you're sitting on a glitch that's costing you money.
Very true. Very true. And Chuck asked if it was $1,500 a month or annual. That's annual revenue.
Yep. I will show you quarterly. We don't have monthly. I don't think Etsy ever have told us monthly. Like Josh he said like October and November were very bad and December was okay-ish. So that's as good as we've got. Yeah. Jessica, that's so sweet. Jessica has a favorite chart. I love how nerdy we all are. That's my favorite one. Yep. We've got some more. We've still got some more.
We're not done with charts yet.
Just a couple more because this is a good one too. Again, GMS per buyer, the average of how much people are spending on the site. It's dismal. It definitely did improve because, like in 2012, they were spending an average of $10. Like, what on earth were you buying? So it's up at around $90 just now, and has been since 2021. It's down slightly, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not awful.
We're still in pandemic spending, or post-pandemic spending, which is really nice that we didn't drop back, because that was the worry, is when everyone went back to work and when everyone started to clear things up, would we go back to pre-pandemic numbers? And 2019, they were spending about $45 per year. They're still double that. So we're still doing great.
That's it. I mean, it would be nice if it was more. I barely shop on Etsy and I spend more than that. Okay, this is harder to see, but I think it is nice to see the quarterly. So this is the ratio of buyers to sellers. So we can, again, we mentioned how it's doing an uptick, and you can see that was Q1 this year is probably, hopefully, the lowest point, and things are heading up. Let's hope it continues.
Yeah, because that was the lowest point since 2015.
Yeah, that's the lowest point since I've been able to get data. Well, we've only getting data since they've had shareholders. So yeah, it's the lowest point we can get data on. So yeah, not good. It really needs to pick up, and hopefully it is. If that continues up, it'll be good in a couple of years. So sorry, guys. I can't remember how many more slides I've got. But here again is the quarter by quarter GMS per seller. So actually, for the whole year, it wasn't so good, but Q4 does look a little recovery-ish.
Yeah, because the year, basically the first three quarters of the year are the lowest it's ever been, other than Q3 of 2015. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's actually the worst it's been since they started tracking it, or since they started giving us the information. So quarter four being better than quarter four of last year is a good thing.
Yep. Right. I'll just check we've got the questions, and then we're on to the presentation. I think we'll rattle through it because there's things that will make you angry, but there's not there's stuff in it, but there's two little nuggets I can think of, but that's about it. Yeah, I'm just seeing if we've missed any questions in the chat. Oh, Kelly, did their GMS figure take into account sales less all the refunds from the buyer protection program? I wonder.
That would impact their revenue, not necessarily the GMS. The GMS would still include those because that's still those are still goods that were sold on the marketplace. Any refunds or anything like that would come from the revenue side.
Ooh, yeah. So, yeah, good question. Actually, I hadn't thought of that one. Is this driven primarily by a lot more sellers or a lot fewer buyers? It's driven by people spending less, basically.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Sellers have gone down a little bit. Buyers are a little bit down, but it's people are just not spending.
Yeah. Deborah asked, what are the $1 million sellers selling? Well, the top sellers are Caitlin Minimalist, which is selling personalized jewelry. And she has anywhere between 1,000 to 3,000 sales per day. I think the second one was a bead person selling beads. I'm assuming it's beads to other sellers. So they're a wholesaler.
Yes, craft supplies is always good.
Yep.
There's one that's always popping up. Good. Yeah. Not quite a top seller yet, but there's a seed company that's doing really well. Every you can we get this data from eRank. If you have a paid subscription, you can look in the competition research and see the top sellers on Etsy. Loads of fantastic data there, but yes, jewelry,
and you can see how many sales they're making per day. So it's quite astonishing, where there are some sellers that are selling one item a month. I usually get between 10 and 20 sales a day, and these sellers are selling over 1,000. They're getting over 1,000 sales a day. It's pretty remarkable.
Absolutely bonkers.
You never know where the line is between like small business and you're now a big business. Where's the balance?
They are definitely past the line. Maureen, what's to happen for a CEO to be removed? I think
shareholders have to get pissed off. That's really
I think his coat's on a sugary wicket from what I've been saying. Some people were saying the shareholders were saying, but I don't think he can be blamed for a pandemic. But anyone who's been around here a lot of time knows that I'm not happy with everything that's happened. Some things are, but I think there's been a lot of missteps. And
if he's responsible for the numbers going down, then he's also responsible for the numbers going up and being significantly higher than they were in 2019.
Exactly. And to be fair, okay, he didn't control the pandemic. I think to an extent he absolutely was responsible for that big thing, because Etsy said nobody else is doing face masks. We're going to rush. We're going to, So he actually did do the good thing, but I suppose give him credit. But there's been a lot of things I've not been a fan of too. And he did even. I couldn't believe they admitted this in the report. They said yes, the marketplace, everything's down. But they reckoned some of the changes they've been making, which they did intend for them to be long-term gains, but they reckoned that hit GMS by several hundred million, was the word he said a couple of times. And I was like, you're saying that out loud?
Yeah, that's money from the sellers. That's money that sellers weren't bringing in. Again, that could also be all of the mass-produced junk that was on there that's removed. But he knows that some of the changes he made, they probably weren't the best idea.
Yeah.
But just like how we're trying different advertising budgets, how we're trying different keywords, how we're trying different things, they're doing that as well. They're running the Etsy business, and they have to kind of throw some spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks, just like we do as business owners.
Exactly. All right. Shall we? Can I remember the buttons? Shall we? There we go. I got it. Let's let's rattle through this, but I'll probably lose track of chat a little bit. So Brian, if you can cry out if I miss anything as well. So yeah, here we've seen the numbers. I made notes while on the call, and my biggest one was I can even read the sarcastic voice going, record revenue. Yeah. But yes, there's the sarcastic voice going, record revenue. Oh, I hear me. No, don't like that. Yeah, it did say consumers are shopping differently, and Etsy can't compete with the cheap. They're not wanting to position themselves with Temu. They've mentioned this before, but yeah, hopefully they're going to listen to what they're saying, because we don't want to compete with Temu. So starting to make Etsy more Etsy, the starting point for special. So they are making the right noises, that they're going to be looking at real people that they want on the site. So we've been saying this for a year or two now, but make sure that your listing and in your shop shows you and what you are doing to make this thing. You don't have to have your own workshop and doing everything, but where are your hands involved in the process? If you're a digital designer, find ways to show that you're digitally designing. Find ways to tell us what your inspiration was. Just, I hope Etsy are going to focus on this.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what some of the things that they've done, which they did say they did think it was going to cause issues, and it has caused things to dip, but it might be improving things. So they introduced the quality score, and they're going to add a higher order insights to the quality score, like the level of craftsmanship. This was interesting. If anyone was in on the call, what they actually said there is they've got an AI tool that can look at photographs and say how much craftsmanship went into making this thing. So make your pictures really good and really obvious how handmade your thing is. Now, that's not going to be relevant for everybody, but hopefully it could make, if you make like furniture or something, and the AI can really look in and see how you've made this thing, it can make you stand out from the people that shouldn't be on Etsy anyway, who are drop shipping from Alibaba.
Exactly. It's going to have the counter effect of understanding what is mass produced, and so expect a lot more false positives in that sense. That listings will be removed, thinking that it is a mass produced item, even though it's not. But this type of AI is going to have both positive and negative effects. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I quickly saw in the chat saying is the same AI that messes up. Now, the AIs will get it wrong, but they did make it very clear. These are different AIs. They have different tools for different things. So some of them might be better than others. Other things they did say for this kind of higher order is how unique are things, how well priced are they, which doesn't necessarily mean low, but it probably means there's going to be a tool out there to say, did you know everybody else is only charging this much? But yeah. And then we've got the seller search visibility page as well, which, yeah, they're happy. I'm trying to remember the numbers that he actually said, but he did say that they're happy that people have been improving their listings based on those recommendations, and they think they're seeing some positive results in conversions from buyers. So I don't agree with everything in their visibility page, but they like at least what it's done. So fair enough. And yeah, they're definitely still putting everything behind gifting, because the gifting GMS outperformed the marketplace. Now, they don't explain how these numbers work. Much of the real estate of the front page is taken up by gifting things. So you can falsely inflate numbers by just making people have to go somewhere, basically. But I trust that they wouldn't necessarily want to do that, because I think this takes up a lot of valuable programming time from them. It costs them money to run this, so if it wasn't good, they wouldn't want to keep doing it. But
yeah, they don't really specify whether it's people using gift mode where they're choosing the type of person they're buying for, or if this is the amount of people that added a gift message or added that it is a gift, that marked an order as gift. They kind of didn't specify that. It says that grew gift card sales. Yeah. That just sounded weird in my head there. But they're saying that that more gift cards were purchased, which is a good thing. But who knows?
yeah,
It
so
could also be purchases made with those gift cards that are calculated into this GMS as well, because that was a gift, obviously, if it was from a gift card.
yeah, we don't know. That's the thing. They know their back end. We have to trust them at least a bit. They did say they're going to be focusing more on events, and they thought Valentine's Day did pretty well. So
Okay.
that's good, because last year Mother's Day didn't do as well as it usually does. Don't know why. So it would be interesting to see how they do for Mother's Day, because Mother's Day used to be huge, but been less so. One thing he did say at this point was, although lots of things are down, they did notice that personalized party decor and clothing, some of these kind of things are up, but they believe making listings for personalizations is a bit clunky just now, so they're going to give us new listing tools for personalization.
Ooh.
Don't know. But there we go. So
Fingers crossed that they do that well, because personalized stuff does sell significantly better than just here's a thing.
Yep.
So hopefully they do this right, because there's big money in that.
1/3 of 2024 GMS came from personalized or customized items. So it's big.
But again, this is where the numbers are weird, because does that mean that someone filled out something in the personalization box, or does that mean that there was variations on a listing? So about 1/3 of all of the listings sold had a variation of some sort. We don't know.
Yeah. And most of my items don't have any customization on them. It's a
Okay.
custom. You can't, because it's
fair.
you send me photos of the breed of dog. I can't do a drop down to choose from that.
True. Versus me, where all of my listings have a customization because you can choose a color. And so is that part of that 1/3 where there's just an option of some sort?
That's true. That probably is included, isn't it?
Yeah. But the more personalization options we get, it being Etsy and a lot of items being personalized, I think that that's huge, because that's what sets Amazon and Etsy apart. That's what sets Temu and Etsy apart. That's what sets a lot of marketplaces and Etsy apart, is the personalization. So hopefully that's where this is going. And that might also mean print on demand as well, because people are choosing the color or the type of shirt and that type of stuff. So this is a wait and see and hope for the best.
Yep. I'm just going to pause for a minute, because I've not been looking at the chat. Oh, Chuck, do you think they'll still prioritize POD? Etsy doesn't prioritize POD. It's just there's so much of it, and yeah.
They're
There's
still
a
going to be
huge
watching, especially with the AI tool. They're going to be watching to make sure people aren't using mock-ups that they shouldn't be using, or that the shirt is what or that the item is what the item says it is, and that type of thing. But there's never been a priority for print on demand.
Yep. You see, I mean, there's a huge market out there, and all gurus driving traffic and sellers to start up a POD shop. Yeah. And right, I don't think I've said this out loud, but I started this year having a long think to myself, because when we do things, we want to grow it. And I thought, I want my YouTube channel to grow. How do you grow it? Oh, talk about POD. And then I sat down and had a proper think to myself and thought, no, loads of people are doing that, but quite a lot of it's disingenuous and it's not
Most
helpful.
of it is how you can make $100,000 in a single day selling print-on-demand shirts with one word on them.
Yeah,
they're all not true, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So I could position myself there, probably not get loads of views, because it's the same as Etsy. You see the people getting the big views. I probably wouldn't get loads of views anyway, but that advice is already out there. So I could be the person, myself, Starla, Bright, there's a few of us, but I could be the person telling people who are not hoping to get rich quick with 1,000 POD listings. I could be the realistic ones. And it works the same for you guys with Etsy shops. You look and you see, oh, is the only way I can make money on Etsy by doing this lazy POD? I'm not slating all POD, I'm slating bad POD. So you're saying, oh, is it the only way I can make money on Etsy? No, because you can be the shop that's just sitting in the background quietly building up your own return customers that absolutely loves you.
Yep.
You won't get the 8-figure business, but you won't also have the 8-figure expenses to get in there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Brian had an excellent example for how he could get a 7-figure shop. How are you going to? Do you remember that one? It was diamond.
Oh yeah. So if you buy diamonds, like $10 million diamonds, and sell them for $5 million, you might lose $5 million per diamond, but you are making $5 million per diamond. So
you have a $5 million Etsy shop.
Revenue versus profits, gotta love it.
Yep. Lorenzo, the Geek Authority. What reasons or criteria does Etsy use in determining dropping or cancelling a shop beyond copyright, trademark, or illegal Etsy standard requirements? The things you said.
We don't know some of it. The things that you said, we don't know some of it, but also any incorrect information, incorrect banking information, your name not matching, your ID not perfectly matching what they have on file for what it should say, selling other things that you shouldn't, not just trademark and copyright, but also if you're selling knives or something like that, handmade knives, that's not allowed, or certain types of knives are allowed, certain types of knives are not. What else? Anything with promises, with health promises. So if you're selling a cream and you say this will solve your eczema, your listing and your shop could be brought down for that as well.
Being rubbish, having terrible custom reviews, just being difficult and annoying for Etsy.
Not meeting the customer service standards. That's right, with the messages, the on-time shipping, and the reviews, or the cases.
That's why I've got him here. That's the professional answer, not the being annoying to Etsy. Yep. Could also, it's mainly a listing, but it could be a shop for having items that are showing up in other marketplaces like AliExpress or something.
Yeah.
There is, I've heard people say it can happen if like your partner also has a shop and you're logging in the same place and they get shut down or something. I don't know how big a deal that is compared to people blaming it. They say, I've got shut down for no reason. It must be because I used the airport's Wi-Fi. It's
usually
not because
that's
you're selling Disney. Yeah.
There is a prohibited items thing. Let's put that in the chat. I don't know if I could post a link, but it's etsy.com/legal/prohibited, and that breaks it down a lot more. alcohol, tobacco, drugs, drug paraphernalia, etc., medical claims, animal products and human body parts and fluids, dangerous items such as hazardous materials, recalled items or weapons, hate items that promote, support, or glorified hate, illegal items promoting illegal activity or highly regulated items, internationally regulated items, which could be seeds if you're selling them across border, or anything that you can't sell between states or between countries. Nudity and sexual content, that would be if it's not labeled properly. And there's now a lot of items that can't be sold that were able to be sold before. I think it was 6 to 8 months ago. The mature content was completely changed. Anything insertable or anything can no longer be listed, but other mature content is still fine. And then violent items that glorify, promote, or support violence.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the basics.
Yeah. If in any way your stuff might be a little edgy, I would always keep an eye on that because Etsy can change it. Matt wants to know, what are you producing on your printers?
I do 3D printed Gothic home decor. So planters and whatever. Basically, a lot of skulls, bats, spiders, all that fun stuff. Cursed by Design is the name of my shop. Cursed by
I was
Design.
just going to say that. Well worth checking out.
I usually forget to promote myself and say my own name, so it's a thing. It's a problem.
Yeah, I absolutely should have put your shop in the description. I forget because, yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for joining me. Jessica, part of me wishes Etsy would split into handmade digital and print on demand.
And even more so, people wish that they split handmade and vintage.
Yes. Or at least help, but vintage are struggling. Yeah. Struggling to be seen and to feel seen. I got the feeling last year in their presentations they were talking about this. I think this whole, whatever they call it, where they changed so you now have to say sort of how handmade your item is. I think they're going to use that. They were setting it up. Was it just last year it came in, or 2 years? Yeah, last year. Yeah, so they've just set that up.
Designed by, made by,
yes,
manufactured by, etc.
So I think that might become part of it, because why else put it in unless to understand better? So I think so. I wish there was a way to distinguish a print-on-demand listing from an item that's made by the seller. Yes.
Yeah.
Funny, I was just speaking to Anthony from eRank about that. Yep. Okay, Chuck, final question. You mentioned you're based in the UK. How do you work around the 14-day cancellation policy for your custom-made items? Simple. Custom-made items aren't subject to the 14-day cancellation policy. That's another good reason to make personalized and custom things. If it's made directly for, like, sadly, Brian couldn't, his items aren't personalized enough if you're just picking a color out of a selection of colors. But if it was made to someone's specifications, then that's different. But yeah, if you are in or sell to any of the countries that have these, that's generally the EU and the UK, customers do have a cooling down period. They are allowed to cancel, and you just build that into your business.
And that applies to US sellers and like international sellers as well. You have to, even no matter what the policies in your shop are, you still have to abide by the country's policies of where you're selling.
Yeah, so figure out what you're going to do. You've got to have some wiggle room in your prices, and find out, do they have to pay shipping? Do you have to pay shipping? Do all of that. But I will tell you, most customers don't, especially if your customer service is great.
Yes.
I'll be a horrible shopper on some kind of rubbish site, Amazon proper, not a little seller on Amazon. I'll be horrible to the big businesses, but if I know I'm dealing with a person, then I've definitely
more
got
likely to have more sympathy and empathy. And
exactly. Lorenzo, what are Etsy shutdown stats? We don't know. I don't think they've I don't think they will tell us that. They tell us, oh, it's increased or things like that. I don't think we've got the numbers. If I ever hear it, I will write it down and save it and let you know. Does Etsy share more detailed data on what's selling, not just the totals? There is a little breakdown. We'll get to that. Yes, but yeah. And also keep an eye on eRank. Who knows what might come along.
Oh, who knows what might come along, huh?
Yeah, I know nothing. Customized, personalized things aren't always exempt. Yeah, the law's complicated. Yes, it has to be bespoke enough. Yes, it has to be made for the person. Like, so
Have
you
their
couldn't,
name
yeah,
embroidered on it or whatever the situation is.
yeah. You can't get around it. Like my bookmarks that I just make the same one again and again and again. I might be making it to order when the person orders it, but that's in no way, the next person that buys, I could just send it to them.
But if someone sent a picture of their cat and you made their cat, and if you made the product in those colors, that's a different situation.
Yeah. So there are items in my shop that are subject to the 14-day cancellation.
Yeah.
Just I haven't had to deal with it because mostly people are quite nice. Right, where are we at? Oh, the Etsy Insider. Yeah, they said it was looking encouraging for, because they sent it out just to people who were sort of low shoppers. They didn't shop much, and they seem to be shopping a little bit more. Because of course, if you pay for I paid for Amazon Prime, and I use Amazon. I use it far too much. So yeah, it works. It looks like it's working. It's going to roll out. They're going to keep testing it.
Yeah,
Fair
because
enough.
of Amazon Prime, I'm more likely to order something that I could walk to the corner store to buy, because Amazon will get it to me same day anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, when they do same day, it's crazy, isn't it? Yep, very lazy. Marketing. Yes, they are going to dial back what they're calling linear TV. They're going to dial back the TV ads and go more for social media, YouTube, all the sorts of things. They're going
I'm
to be.
surprised nobody told them. I'm surprised that nobody told them, hey, nobody watches actual live TV anymore. No one has cable. No one has cable.
Yeah.
You should be advertising on YouTube, on Netflix, anywhere you can. Don't put radio ads out there. Put Spotify ads. I don't know why they needed to be told this, but they did, and they're finally listening.
Yep. So it looks good, and they're going to use their machine learning to improve these ads, which, look, it's good. Shein, Temu, their Facebook ads are blooming brilliant.
Yep. And they're dead on too. They're very good at it. I don't even buy from them, and they know exactly what it is that I would want to buy if I was to buy from them.
Yeah,
they're good.
I do buy from them because they're good, and they still like when they know what you want, and then when they find the thing, they still like they keep coming. It's like, oh, no, I'm not. Oh, how did that end up in my cart again? So yeah.
Oh, I'm buying a whole desk for $1.10. Oh my god! Fine, I'll take it.
Exactly, because I've got use for one if it comes and it's just hamster sized. That's fine. They are working on the app even more. They did say, this was interesting, they know if you're on the desktop, all these pop-ups telling you to use the app are a pain and are putting people off, but it's short-term pain for hopefully long-term gain, because I got some numbers here. Everyone likes numbers that's here. 40% of Etsy's GMS came from the app, but only 20% of visits. So people spend, when they're on the app, they're spending. So Etsy is going to push people to get on the app.
Yep.
I sort of see why. It's less friction to buy, isn't it? You just go, doof, doof. Oh, look, I've bought a load of stuff.
Yeah, you don't notice how much you're buying, and it's just you think of something and you're just going to do it, versus on desktop, you're more likely to add it to your cart. You're more likely to compare, because it's just easier to compare multiple things and to shop, to view everywhere else. So if you have something in your cart, you're like, Well, let's see what that's like on Amazon and everywhere else. A desktop, it's just, or on a computer, it's a lot easier to do that. Versus on your phone, you would have to open up a different app. You can't compare them side by side. You can't have multiple windows. It's just frustrating. So people are just more likely to actually make that purchase when they're on mobile.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to think of as well, though, is make it as easy as possible. So that could be a thing, that the more confusing listings will get less and less good, like too many options. People don't want to think, they just want to buy. So
Yep.
look at maybe simplifying your listings. If I've seen some people with very complicated listings. So
Which I think is one of the reasons that they are working on adapting the personalization to make that easier and less friction for that part, because personalized items sell. So let's make it easy on mobile where people are actually shopping.
yep, absolutely. This was quite a cool graphic. This was all animated and everything, but we don't get it. If you come late, you don't get the animated ones. But it's their little flywheel, which is evolving our surfaces to become more browsable. So evolving things to be easier. This is, he keeps talking about making the app a place where you come to be entertained, a place where you come to hang out, and they don't release the bloomin' Etsy Explore. It seems such, it just annoys me when they create something that could be awesome and then just don't bother continuing with it. But anyway, so so they make their app more browsable, which they hope will capture more, vastly more enriched data. They did mention some cool things that they're now looking at. They're going to be looking at not just did they click on it, did they heart it, did they buy it, but did they hover on it? How long did they take looking at things? So they're going, this is like the old days of Google, what Google was looking at, how long they're on a site and stuff, but they're going to be looking at this more in-depth data. So if you have a super interesting listing, and then build more powerful models based on that feedback. They just about every 5 minutes they mentioned AI, LLMs, and stuff. And well, it's not, when you're talking about an AI to look at pictures, it's not an LLM, Josh. That's a large language model. Sorry, just let him know that. But anyway, so they're building up the AIs, and then this will mean they can generate more personalized marketing, which will create more personalized on-site experiences on Etsy, which will go round the circle and hopefully be a flywheel doing good stuff, is what they're hoping for.
That's the hope.
Yeah, it's positive sounding. Oh, yeah, these were nice numbers to see. Good to have. If you're wanting to know if your products are good for coming onto Etsy, there's some data here. So 8 out of 10 sellers are women. So if you're selling supplies,
I think that was expected.
Yeah, I think we could have guessed that. 9 out of 10 are a one-person business, which is, it is high. Approximately half sell exclusively on Etsy, so 50% of you stop doing that, or don't have it only as your only source of income. And nearly all of Etsy sellers work from home. So I kind of got mad at their event last year where they were showcasing sellers, and I think 3/4 of the sellers they showcased had a beautiful studio.
Yeah.
When most of us are sitting surrounded by boxes and wool and all sorts of, we're drowning in stuff.
Where do they have the space for that?
Yep. So unfortunately, most of us don't have a pretty enough crafting environment. Oh, I'd love to see Etsy try and come and interview me when I'm sitting on my sofa trying to wrestle the dog away when I'm trying to felt something. Yeah. But anyway, so most of us are actually working from home.
Yeah.
I think Depop did fantastic. I don't think anyone here sells on Depop. Reverb, I think it's a cool site actually, but for musicians. But again, it's not most of us. I like my graphs better. Here's Eatsy's graphs. Yeah, they said the decline in active sellers is a good thing. Are we? Yeah, we're not onto the right. Yeah, here's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Etsy ads are bringing in strong income. This is what they said here. So this is their revenue, where they're getting the money from. So Etsy ads, that looks like about a quarter, doesn't it?
Yep.
Roughly. Consolidated payments, I'm not entirely sure what that means. And there, for anyone asking for the Etsy setup fee, it's actually only a tiny amount just now in the revenue Etsy's making, but it is an amount. It is money.
And the Etsy revenue last year was $852 million. So that little bit looks like it's probably about 50 million, something in that area. Or wait, no, I got that. No, that makes sense. Yeah. It's probably anywhere between 25 and 50 million.
It's a lot of money that we are paying for in ads.
Yep.
He did say, because I think there was a worry, are you using ads to make money, basically, for Etsy? And he didn't deny it, but what he was saying is they never want to put ads out, like shove more ads out that reduce how much sales from organic, or that's worse than organic. So if the ads didn't cause any problem at all, then potentially the whole front page would be ads. I think that's probably illegal, but they'll shove them in as much as they can without hurting things. Basically. That's not reassuring. But ads make Etsy money. Etsy likes money. Yeah.
It's working. People are paying for the ads, and it's helping sellers make money. So they're going to keep doing it. And sellers are going to keep wanting those ads. Otherwise, those exact same sellers will be running Google ads or Facebook ads or spending that ad revenue somewhere else. So they might as well keep it on Etsy.
Yeah, but guys, check your ads. Don't just keep throwing
Don't
money
set it
at
and forget
ads.
it. Ads are not something to set and forget. Definitely go back, make sure that they're working for you, make sure that you're getting a return on the investment, make sure that they're being shown for the proper keywords. There's a lot of little nuance, and if you're just throwing money at ads and putting your whole shop on, you are more likely losing money than you think you are.
Yep, exactly. Experiment, and not only make sure you're being shown for the proper keywords. You can go in and see what keywords you're being shown for, but look at the keywords that aren't relevant and see if you can make listings that are relevant if it's relevant. Saying relevant a lot, but
Etsy thinks the listing was relevant, so someone's looking for it.
Exactly, that's it. Someone was looking for it, but your listing wasn't quite right. Can you make one that is?
Exactly.
Marketing spend, if anyone's interested in this. As Etsy said, they're going to be shifting from TV. They messed up quite, not their fault, but the Super Bowl was a massive flop when they're boasting about how they were going to try and beat Temu and everything, and did the Super Bowl ad, and Etsy had one ad there, and was it Temu or Shein had like all the rest of the ads or something. Whoops. They tried.
You got to spend a lot, apparently.
Yes. This is interesting to see this reactivating buyers. So they're all excited and proud of the reactivated buyers. But as Brian says, this can just be someone who shops every 13 months will be a reactivated buyer every two annual reports, basically.
Yeah, so it might not be Etsy that necessarily did anything to get them back. It's just that's when they happen to shop.
Exactly. They might have been an active buyer up until a few years ago, and now they're a every 13 months buyer or
Well, what
something.
might have messed that up and why the numbers this year in particular might be skewed is Black Friday was very late this year, or
Yes.
in 2024, which means that people were shopping a month later than they were last year. So they might have just tipped the threshold and then became a reactivated buyer.
True enough. Yep. So we can't read much into this, but we know the totals is down slightly. But look, it's difficult times. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
But that's 7 million new buyers, but we also dropped by, what was it, 3 million buyers. So that means that we actually lost 9 million buyers, but gained 7 million.
Yeah, I don't care about Eatsy's balance sheet. I can't remember if there's anything else. There was some after the Q&A, wasn't there? Oh, yeah, here we go. You asked about, somebody
Pie
asked
charts?
about, yes, pie chart. So time to get hungry. Yes, I said there was a couple of pie charts. Yep. We should make them in our slides a wee bit too. So the breakdown of GMS by category is home and living's always the best, which is funny because everyone jumps on to make print on demand t-shirts, and that's only 15% of GMS. Honestly, wall decor has been huge for the past year or two.
Yep.
Don't do lazy print on demand, but people come to Etsy for wall decor.
They sure do.
And yeah, this other pie chart might be interesting because every year up until now, this pie chart, this is the geographic split of GMS. It's looked near a 50-50 every other year. And now it's 25-75 because Etsy's changed how they're reporting it. Basically, this is 75% of the GMS comes from US buyers and 25% comes from non-US buyers. In the past, they used to talk about GMS coming from a buyer or seller who was not in the US, and it was about 50% of GMS was coming from domestic US, so US to US. But now we get more of a breakdown. So
And it's
US
more grim for those people who are not selling to the US. 75% of that 12 point whatever billion dollars came from the US. So if you're not selling to the US and you're an international seller, the US is somewhere to look into.
Yep, I was literally going to make a short or something on that. So I don't think it's grim. I think it's very clear.
Versus previous years where it was 56% was US, it didn't seem as bad. It seemed like, okay, if you're just in the international market, if you're just in Europe, if you're just in Canada, those are good markets too. Now it's showing that they're not as good as we originally thought they were, that Etsy is doing a lot better in strictly the US as far as buyers go than anywhere else in the world.
Yep. I think it also tells us that people in the US are buying internationally as well. So that's good. It's good in that respect to see that number. That's where a bit of our pie chart went missing. Yep, we've already done that graph. Reactivate, yep. Yeah, you can check those all. Right, I think we did it. Yeah, that's like the last slide. Woohoo!
So it's not all doom and gloom. There's some very positive things. There's some hope for the coming future. There's the AI. There's the increase on personalization, and that's my favorite thing from this whole setup. Is they're going to put a priority to personalized items, and not necessarily a priority, but prioritize making it easier to shop them and to list them. And I'm very excited for that. Very excited for that.
Absolutely. I'm really intrigued to see what the AI looking at your pictures is going to do. It's going to be awful to start with. But it's going to get better. I mean, anyone who tried ChatGPT, who played around with Chatty when she started and are using her now.
Oh, ChatGPT 2 was bad, but 4.0, boom, it's solid.
Yeah, it's so much better. It's hilarious. Like, for those of you that don't know, myself and Brian also both work for E-Rank. The number of us that are putting things forward and be like, yeah, I kind of looked at ChatGPT to help me start that and stuff. It's like we're not using it for everything, but quite a lot of it are using her as our assistant.
Yeah.
She's very helpful. Yep. Oh, here's good. Kelly kill feathers. I can count on my hands the number of cancellations or change of mind returns I've had in the UK. It's a rare occurrence. It is. It really is. It's not something to be worried about.
About 3 to 4% of my business to the UK, I've had none.
Yeah.
In the 6 years I've been selling on Etsy, I've had none.
It's pretty rare. We're quite lazy. By the time you get it, you can't be bothered sending it back.
It's a lot. You got to go to the post office. I'm done.
Mhm.
You got to retape the box. Oh my god! Don't even get me started.
Oh, I should have guessed that Chuck's in the UK with the last question, but yeah, they're still asking for a TV license. Does anywhere else in the world apart from us have TV licenses?
Or at least not in North America. There isn't. I don't know about Australia or anything, but I don't think so. I think it's just you guys.
I don't hate it because unlike Amazon, you pay that license and you don't get any ads, and the news doesn't have to get views, so it doesn't have to be spectacular, so it can just tell us the news. I'm not going to say that it's totally unbiased and impartial and amazing, but I think there's a video out there talking about the differences in the reporting, when Ebola was a thing. And the BBC was like, okay, there's this thing in Africa. Some people might get sick here. It's fine. We can deal with it. The US news.
Oh my god, we're all gonna die! Everyone.
It was hilarious, the difference, and it was literally because you've got to get clicks where the BBC didn't.
You have to be sensationalized because there's so many news networks.
Yeah. They waste so much budget putting Etsy ads on YouTube videos about Etsy. We know. Yeah, that's very true. Yes. I see them before watching Etsy things. It's hilarious.
That's not the keyword they should be targeting.
Yep. I mean, yeah, Google's pretty good for being able to get granular with how you advertise. So yeah, they should know that. How does a store like Caitlin keep up with a demand of 1,000 to 3,000 sales per day?
Staff.
Yeah, staff, but also Caitlin minimalist. It's in the name. Her stuff is handmade as far as, it is allowed by Etsy and everything, but she's not casting like pendants and things. She's stringing things together.
And a lot of it is just like bent metal kind of thing. Like a heart earring is just, she takes a rod and then it gets bent. It's just telling the machine what to do. So while it's handmade, it's not necessarily labor intensive. So you can almost mass produce in your own garage that type of product. It's not like it has to be sent to a factory to mass produce. And that's the type of thing she does, is stuff that can be mass produced in-house.
Yeah, there's a store that's doing really well on Etsy that's from Glasgow, and I tried to get an interview with them, but they won't answer me. But you think, oh, this is terrible, it's mass producing, but when they show a bit of the process, like you can cast 20 single pendants all in one pour and stuff, and it's fascinating. I
remember a few years ago, Planner Kate did an interview and she was showing her workshop, and she had a wall of 40 Cricut machines.
Yeah.
Like that's how, like, because she used to be the number one seller, selling 1,000 to 2,000 items a day, and that's how she did it. It was all in-house. She had a staff of I think 3 or 4 at the time, and they just had a wall of machines doing their thing.
Yep. Yeah, Chuck saying actually big brands started advertising for Prime Video, Netflix, and Disney online TV slots.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely finally things are catching up and people are figuring out where the actual audience is.
Well, I think the problem that Etsy had with advertising on those video platforms is their commercials aren't ones that you want to see over and over and over and over again, which is what happens on YouTube. They're not viral. They're more like watch it once, relax, and then that minute's over and go on with your life. So they would have to completely change their marketing technique and strategy for those platforms. And so they went the easy route, which is let's just make one commercial or a set of 3 commercials and it's good to go, instead of we need like 50 commercials. Let's knock these out. They don't have to be as high budget or high marketing value. They just need to be out there. And that seems to be where they're going to focus on, which is a good thing.
Yep. We'll see how it goes.
I'll let you know when I see the first Etsy ad on TikTok.
Oh yeah. I'll let you know if any of them get through my ad blockers. Etsy search is the problem. On the app, you type in 3 to 4 words like black velvet cosmetic bag. You get a search message and no shops that have it. Yeah. Etsy searches, I didn't realize how bad it was. But it's bad. It should not be that bad. Part of it is because the terrible sellers flooding Etsy, and we know Etsy algorithm does favor recency, which is not to say, well, not recent, does favor new listings. It gives them a little boost. It's not to say it's a good strategy to keep relisting or to keep creating listings, but if 1,000 sellers are making 1,000 listings a day, Etsy's got to show some of them. So it is squeezing the good things out. That's very true. Jessica definitely spends more on the app. I don't shop on my phone entirely because it would be too easy. So this is, I have rules for myself. If I'm buying, I have to be on my PC. Just
even on Amazon, I buy on the computer. I might be out and about and think, okay, maybe I need that. I'll add it to my cart on the app, but I will purchase it on a computer. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just old and Jess is nice and young, and we just have the old school way of this is how you purchase things. And even Uber Eats, I order it like from a computer.
Yeah, I do. I order an Uber on my phone, but the food I like to. But when I'm sitting watching YouTube,
it's nice and big. You want to see the pictures. You want to be able to like.
I think that's just probably it. It's our aging eyes.
Yeah, probably. More than likely. There we go. Now I'm nerdy.
Cool. Apart from
there we are.
Oh, I can see me. And by the way, guys, we should all message Etsy. Absolutely. Is that for lots of reasons, but this one's serious. If 40% of revenue on Etsy is coming from the app, I want to see my stats from the app on Google Analytics right now. That is possible to do, but Etsy won't give us it. So if you're going to push the app, then give me the stats, give me the data.
I mean, they're taking stats away. They took away they keep taking stats away instead of giving us more. It's very frustrating.
Don't even mention it. Don't make me cry. They took my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep. Where do in-person sales fall under? I'm assuming that's part of not of the app sales. Do you mean like if you're using Square, they shouldn't count them as Etsy revenue, just the fees that you get for it, but they probably do count them. I've never seen it mentioned. I don't know how that counts. Yeah,
that seems to just be they tell you that you can do it, but they don't actually put any stats anywhere in any of the investor reports. I've never seen them mention Square or any other collaboration or anything like that. So not sure.
True. Yeah. This is the data of the demographics. How do they know that many sell on Etsy exclusively? Their surveys may be skewed. Yeah, I assume most places, when they do these kind of surveys, they get a company to run the surveys. So it makes sure it runs a survey until it's sampled a right amount of the demographic of what they're looking at. But yes, the data's not perfect.
It's not going to be perfect, but the easy way is most sellers. I mean, there's always little variations, but most sellers will use the same username on multiple platforms. Like, I'm Cursed by Design. You'll find Cursed by Design on eBay. You'll find Cursed by Design on Etsy. You'll find Cursed by Design on Amazon Handmade. So they're looking for the same name, and using AI technology or just simple image comparison, they can tell that the logo is the same. And it's an automated system that's doing that. No, there's no human being like, are those the same, or manually typing it. It's all just automated. The same way that there's, I forget what the tool's called, but you could type in your desired username and it'll tell you if it's used on any social media site. So you can see which social media you can still use if that's the name that you choose. There's likely a tool like that that's just going through every single Etsy shop name.
We have people crafting right away. If I remember correctly, in one of the first meetings I saw Jessica, she crocheted a hat or something. And I am tempted to felt sometimes when I'm on these streams, but I need to press buttons. Yeah.
My machines do it for me. I don't have to do anything. They're just doing their thing. It's beautiful.
You do get needle felting machines. You get felting machines, but they're terrifying. It's like a tattoo gun.
That's cool. They're probably just as loud.
It's just as loud, and I am really clumsy. I would end up tattooing myself with wool. And now that I've put that idea in my head, I would probably try it on purpose. So,
if you have any bald friends, you should try it out and see if that works. See if you can needle felt them a nice hairline.
Yeah. AF says Etsy gutted Reverb with huge layoffs. Yeah, they gutted Etsy with huge layoffs. Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah, they cut like half the customer support team on Etsy.
Mm-hmm. Can you please post a link to the site you're looking at and sharing here? The sites, the competitor sales tool on Etsy. Yes. E-Rank, sorry. Yeah, very cool tool. I've been using that every week with this Etsy shop videos that everyone's been liking to watch. If I can't sell millions doing print on demand, I can talk about people who are selling millions. Oh, yay. Do you know what? Thank you for the lovely graphs. I love that we get to nerd out and people like the graph, like the data. We should do even more, but anyway.
The problem is that some people don't like graphs and some people love just a wall of data. So it's a matter of trying to find that balance.
You just made a sale, didn't you?
I just made a sale,
yeah. Oh, Chuck's just
been online for 90 minutes. It's weird that it just...
I know, that's slow for you. I know. Chuck just moved from London to Malaga. Hey, let's do a survey because they're good.
Is Malaga in the UK as well?
No. Spain, is it? Spanish? I get confused. It's sunny. It's not the UK. Yeah. I'm not very good at abroad, but I know it's nice looking. It's somewhere where British people go and bring back souvenirs or T-shirts.
It's where they vacation.
Yes. So he's gone to a holiday place, which sounds awesome. Yeah. So guys, let us know who got a sale during this live, because we joke that myself and Starla on our lives, people get sales, not directly related, but we're going to claim it. So let us know who got a sale. I didn't. Oh, yeah. Emily, last week I noticed a huge jump in shipping costs to Australia. Decided to stop shipping there from Canada. I think a lot of shipping went up. What's happening in Canada, Brian? Don't know.
Nothing. If you're in the US, shipping to Canada, literally nothing changed. There's been some major storms that impacted the US and Canada, and there's still the threat of tariffs coming on both sides, reciprocal tariffs. So a lot of Canadians are just buying Canadian, but there's no issue at the moment. US to Canada, there's
No,
no
this
tariffs,
was
there's no extra
from
added anything.
Canada to Australia. Oz, not US. Don't know. But
No
shipping
idea.
costs were changed. I noticed just UK
Oh, the shipping
shipping.
cost.
Yeah, our UK shipping went up more than I expected this last week. Yeah.
It depends on who you're shipping with. If you're using Stallion, because I completely misread that. I read it too quickly. I didn't realize you were in Canada shipping to Australia, and the price has gone up. I've seen people in my Etsy Canada group talk about that, and it's mainly if you're using Canada Post for some reason. If you're using and if you're using Chit Chats, because they're using APC, and for some reason APC rates have gone up everywhere you ship. I think because there's been a lot less going to the EU, so they're trying to make up that money somehow. If you're using Stallion Express, then they use Post NL, which is out of Netherlands, and so your stuff goes to the Netherlands and then to Australia, and the prices are still, you're looking between $12 and $14 Canadian to ship out there.
Yep.
So use Stallion if you're in an area that they service.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Okay, right. I don't have time to answer this fully, but is there a place to understand how Etsy calculates PPC for ads? The Code is Craft Etsy developers blog does have a section on how they've figured out their fees. I covered it in a video, but I don't remember what video it was, a very long time ago. I can do another video on that because it's a big subject, but
I don't know if my links work here.
You should do.
You guys should let me. You guys will have to let me know if you can see that link.
But the short answer for how Etsy calculates it is it's a bidding process that Etsy's bidding on your behalf against other people that Etsy's bidding on their behalf, which does sound very dodgy. I completely agree. And it goes up to a maximum of what it believes you will make in revenue. So if it's very competitive, your ads should just about break even, not taking into account any of your expenses. But if it's not so competitive, then it's a bidding war. It's like the ad is an eBay listing and you've given Etsy your budget to bid for you, and somebody else has also given Etsy their budget to bid for them, and you're fighting it out till last man standing, till you beat the other person's bid. But it's all very dodgy, really, if we're honest.
If my link is there, the link worked. Yeah, you'll find the advertisement disclosures about how they figure out how much an ad is, and where they show them, why they show them, how they bid against each other, and just all of the disclosures behind how that works.
Yeah, but if you are interested in deeper diving, I will do something on that in the future because it is fun. The very first one I did on Etsy ads, everybody loved, and I had a few of my needle felted figures demonstrating how a bidding war worked. It was very childish. Everyone loved it.
Oh, it's crazy how much ads can be impacted by how many buyers are looking for something, how many sellers are advertising it, and just it snowballs from there. It can go anywhere from 20 cents all the way up to, like, I've seen ads that are over $2 for a single click.
Yeah, so annoying. When they let us control it, I used to be on 2 cents a click.
Yeah, but that also included Google ads, which are generally cheaper to begin with. Because, like, if you look at your offsite ads, you can have 20,000 views, 5,000 clicks, but only a couple sales. So, like, you would normally be, if you were to take out Google ads, you'd be paying for every single view of those ads. And so that's where that 2 cents cost per click would come in versus Etsy's 20 to $2, 20 cents to $2. It's tough.
Yeah. Oh, Kat. It's another UK one, I'm guessing, because you've been blue petering some foam boards for your photography backdrops during the stream, so it's a disaster zone. Yeah.
What's blue petering?
Blue Peter is a children's TV show in the UK that's been running for like 60 or 70 years, but they teach you how to, like, a lot of it, be making things out of nonsense. I remember using cereal boxes to make a 4-poster bed for my Cindy dolls. Barbie dolls. So, yeah, the UK equivalent. Yeah, so Blue Peter.
You don't have Barbie, you have a different Barbie.
We have Barbie, but we also have Cindy, which is the UK version. I forget the name. But it seems like we've got a lot of UK people, which is good because it's 11 o'clock just now. Kelly's grooming a fox, needle-felted fox, not a real one.
Too bad. A real one would be pretty cool.
Chuck, that's mean. Brian's Canadian.
I am actually not American.
Yeah,
just never heard of.
But we'll have different places we go on holiday, and Malaga is a known UK area. So yes, it's not a Canada or American likely to know. Yes, I don't even know. I don't know where it is. I just know. I just know people go on holiday. I'm not very well traveled.
It is a city in Spain.
Oh, here we go. Pippero's got several sales. Susanna got a sale just before the live. Emily's no sales yet. Brett got a sale. Oh, Chuck, I love this. Malaga is Europe's Hawaii. That's a good way. Yeah, that covers it.
Yeah, because usually when someone from North America is going to Spain, they'd go to like Madrid.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because we have Hawaii on the side.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of islands that Brits will go to, like Mediterranean and that kind of thing.
Fair.
But I don't know much about it. But yes, Debbie got some sales. CJ's also a Canadian. I think you're more rural, so you find shipping is a nightmare, if I remember correctly. Yes. Anything
rural outside of a major city in Canada is not pretty. We're the second largest country in the world, but our population is extremely low, so there's a lot of space.
Yeah, the infrastructure's tough if you're not in a big city. I totally understand. Yeah. Oh, I don't feel so dumb. Okay, Malaga is southern Spain, so yes. There you go. I was mainly right, kind of right. Okay, guys, I think I've kept Brian for long enough and kept you.
You say that. For me, it's like 6:00 p.m. Like you're the one that's up late.
Not for me. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Brian, and thank you, everyone. If you enjoyed,
thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up and let us know if you want Brian to come back for the next one, and we can bully him some more. And don't forget,
coming back anyways, whether you want me or not. Like that's just sorry, guys, I'm back.
Yeah. But you'll see a link to his YouTube, so we can bully him into making videos, and you might be seeing him on eRank a wee bit more. And Cursed by Design is his shop.
There's eRank that way. There's eRank.
Hey. Okay, guys. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
And if you have some dreams to craft and share, Coach Pam's got wisdom, don't despair. Turn your passions into things that bling. With each video, you're